Did you know that 95% of your day is spent focusing on things you have zero control over? Your mind is constantly analyzing other people's actions, worrying about circumstances, and reacting to the world around you. Yet none of these things can transform your reality. The truth is, your attention is your most valuable currency, and you're investing it in everyone else's bank account but your own. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal why this external focus is the hidden saboteur of everything you want to achieve, and the exact method to redirect your creative power where it belongs, inward. The external focus trap. Your reality is a mirror reflecting your inner state, yet you're looking everywhere but within. Think about that for a moment. Most people spend their entire lives chasing external validation and circumstances, completely unaware they're running on a hamster wheel that never ends. They're constantly seeking the next accomplishment, the next relationship, the next purchase that will finally make them feel complete. Consider how much mental energy you waste daily analyzing other people's actions. That coworker who didn't smile at you this morning? You've crafted 3 different stories about why they're upset with you. That friend who hasn't texted back? You're now questioning the entire friendship. Then there's the hours spent scrolling through social media, absorbing other people's highlight reels, while your own life feels increasingly inadequate. Not to mention the endless worrying about circumstances completely outside your control. The economy, politics, what others think of you. This external focus creates a painful loop that traps you in a cycle of dissatisfaction. The more you chase external validation, the more it eludes you, leaving you feeling increasingly empty and powerless. It's like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much validation you pour in, you'll never feel full because your attention is focused on everything except the actual source of fulfillment. The human mind processes about 6,000 thoughts daily, yet research shows 80% of those thoughts are negative and focused on things outside your control. Think about what this means. You're literally programming your reality with what you don't want. Your mind is like a supercomputer running faulty software, creating outcomes that directly oppose your desires. Take Sarah, for instance. She spent years obsessing over her co-workers' opinions and her boss's approval, constantly adjusting her behavior to please others. She'd rehearse conversations before they happened, analyze them afterward, and shape her personality based on what she thought others wanted. The result? Sarah became increasingly anxious and unfulfilled with each passing year. Despite all her efforts to control how others perceived her, she felt more disconnected from herself and others than ever before. Your attention functions like a spotlight. Wherever you direct, it grows and expands in your experience. This is a fundamental law of consciousness that most people never realize they're using against themselves. When you focus on problems, limitations, and what others think, you're actually feeding those very experiences with your creative energy. You're unconsciously shining your spotlight on exactly what you don't want, then wondering why your life feels so frustrating. The external world is nothing but a projection of your inner state. This isn't just spiritual philosophy. Quantum physics has demonstrated that observer affects the observed at the most fundamental level of reality. Trying to change your circumstances without changing your consciousness is like trying to change your reflection by adjusting the mirror. It's an exercise in futility that leaves you exhausted and no closer to what you actually want. What if the solution to everything you've been chasing has been within you all along, waiting for you to notice it? What if the relationship challenges, the financial struggles, the health concerns, all of it, was simply reflecting back to you the quality of your own consciousness? Not as punishment, but as feedback showing you exactly where your attention has been focused. The first step toward reclaiming your creative power is recognizing this fundamental truth. Your attention is your most valuable currency, and you've been investing it in everyone else's bank account but your own. Every moment spent worrying about others' opinions is creative energy that could be directed toward your own expansion. Every hour lost scrolling through social media is consciousness that could be invested in your own vision. The shift begins with a simple question. Where is your attention right now? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but in this exact moment, because that's where your power to create lives. Are you focused on what's wrong or what's possible? Are you absorbed in others' judgments or your own vision? Are you dwelling on what you can't control or what you can create? The hidden cost of misplaced focus. Each time your focus shifts to external concerns, you're making an energetic withdrawal from your manifestation account. Did you know your brain requires extraordinary energy to function, consuming 20% of your body's resources while representing just 2% of your weight. This precious cognitive resource isn't infinite, yet most people unknowingly squander it on thoughts that actively sabotage their deepest desires. Think about the garden of your mind for a moment. Every thought is a seed. The question is, what kind of garden are you cultivating? Are you planting seeds of doubt, worry, and fear? Or are you planting seeds of faith, confidence, and expectation? When you allow your consciousness to drift outward, analyzing others' actions, reacting to circumstances beyond your control, scrolling through endless social feeds, you're essentially planting seeds in everyone else's garden while your own reality remains barren. The science confirms what ancient wisdom has always known. Your consciousness is not simply witnessing reality, it's generating it at the subatomic level. But here's the critical insight most people miss. This creative force requires focused intention to manifest coherently. When your mental energy scatters across 1,000 external concerns, you create 1,000 partial realities rather than the one complete experience you truly desire. Consider John, a brilliant entrepreneur with innovative ideas and considerable talent. For years, he obsessed over his competitors' strategies, panicked about market fluctuations, and constantly adjusted his business model based on industry rumors. Despite working harder than almost anyone in his field, his company remained stagnant. The breakthrough came only when he recognized the energy leak. His attention was so fixated on external forces that he had no creative power left to manifest his own vision. When he finally redirected his focus inward, defining his unique path regardless of external noise, his business transformed within months. When you let your mind wander into the affairs of others, you weaken your creative force. It is only when your attention is undivided, directed inward, and aligned with your true desires that your manifestations take form. This isn't abstract philosophy. It's practical energy management. Your emotional state serves as your manifestation frequency. When you focus externally, you often default to worry, judgment, or comparison, creating a vibrational pattern that attracts matching experiences. If you harbor fear, doubt, or resentment, your outer world will mirror these feelings with experiences that perpetuate those emotions. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle that appears to confirm your anxieties, making them seem even more worthy of your precious attention. The law of attention states that whatever you focus on expands in your experience. The external world cannot resist the force of a focused and determined mind. Yet most people program their subconscious for more limitation by continually focusing on problems, obstacles, and what's not working. Your subconscious can't distinguish between what you want and what you don't want. It simply delivers more of whatever occupies your mental space. Every second you spend focused on something that does not serve you is a second you could be using to build the life of your dreams. Time is not infinite for us here on this physical plane. The hours, the days, the years, they pass quickly, and once they are gone, they do not return. I want you to really feel the weight of this truth. The price of misplaced focus isn't just wasted hours. It's the unlived potential, the unrealized dreams, the version of reality you could have created but didn't because your creative power was scattered rather than concentrated. When you focus on others, when you compare your journey to someone else's, you're telling yourself, I am not enough. You're saying that what you have, who you are, is somehow lacking. This self-judgment creates an energetic resistance that blocks your manifestations more effectively than any external obstacle ever could. By contrast, the more you focus on yourself, on your desires, on your inner world, the more power you will have. This isn't selfishness. It's the highest form of self-respect and the foundation of genuine creation. What would happen if you reclaimed even half the energy you're currently giving away to external concerns? What reality could you create if your tremendous mental resources were directed toward your vision rather than diluted across 1,000 distractions? Your internal state is the foundation upon which your entire external world is built. It is the lens through which reality is filtered, and it shapes every event, every encounter, and every experience that comes into your life. This fundamental principle reveals why external achievements without internal alignment never satisfy for long. Your reality doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being in this moment, which is determined entirely by where you place your conscious attention. Inward focus, the power of self-creation. That conscious attention we've been discussing holds the key to what might be the most misunderstood creative force in the universe. Your imagination isn't just for daydreaming or escaping reality. It's the actual technology through which reality itself is conceived before materializing. What most people dismiss as childish fantasy is actually the divine creative workshop where everything in your physical experience is first shaped. This revelation completely transforms how we understand self-focus. When Neville Goddard taught about manifestation, he emphasized that its power originates from within, not from external circumstances. The greatest obstacle to achieving your desires isn't your situation, your background, or your resources. It's the attention you give to the world outside yourself. Every moment you spend analyzing external conditions is creative energy diverted from the inner world where true manifestation occurs. Society has conditioned you to believe that focusing on yourself is somehow wrong, that it's selfish, narcissistic, or inconsiderate. But this programming is perhaps the most effective way to keep you powerless. When you're constantly focused outward, you're essentially handing over the keys to your creative power. Think about it. How often have you felt guilty for taking time to explore your own consciousness, to sit with your thoughts, or to imagine new possibilities? That guilt isn't accidental. It's part of a collective belief system that keeps people externally focused and internally disconnected. The truth, focusing inward, is the highest form of responsibility. It's acknowledging that your consciousness is the foundation upon which everything else in your experience is built. It's taking ownership of your creative power rather than abdicating it to circumstances. When you direct your attention inward, you access what Goddard called the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The ability to embody the state of having already achieved your desire before any external evidence exists. Consider Maria's story. For years, she approached her financial struggles through constant external action, working overtime, chasing better opportunities, cutting expenses. Despite her efforts, she remained trapped in a cycle of scarcity. Everything changed when she learned about the power of directing her focus inward. Instead of obsessing over bills and bank accounts, she began dedicating time each day to embodying the consciousness of someone who was already financially abundant. She felt the security, freedom, and generosity that abundance would bring, not as a future hope, but as a present reality. Within months, unexpected opportunities appeared. A promotion she hadn't applied for, investment returns that exceeded projections, and creative business ideas that seemed to arrive fully formed in her mind. The external circumstances shifted not because she forced them to, but because she had changed the consciousness from which they were projected. This practice of self-focus develops something essential: self-awareness. By turning your attention inward, you begin to observe the automatic thoughts, assumptions, and feelings that have been unconsciously programming your reality. This observation isn't about judgment or criticism, it's about recognition. Only when you can see these patterns clearly can you consciously choose different ones. Your internal state functions like a tuning fork, constantly sending out vibrations that attract matching experiences. When your attention remains outward, these vibrations form reactively in response to circumstances. But when you focus inward, you gain the ability to deliberately set this frequency, regardless of what appears to be happening around you. You're no longer at the mercy of external triggers. You become the conscious broadcaster of your vibrational signature. What becomes possible when you fully grasp that the entire external world is simply responding to the quality of your consciousness? Everything transforms. Problems that seemed persistent suddenly reveal themselves as projections of internal beliefs. Relationships that were challenging shift as your self-concept evolves. Opportunities that seemed closed suddenly appear because your internal blocks have dissolved. The true power of self-focus is that it positions you at the cause, not the effect, of your life experience. You're no longer the thermometer that merely registers the temperature of your environment. You become the thermostat that sets it. This shift in perspective is what separates those who feel perpetually victimized by circumstances from those who seem to bend reality to their will. This doesn't mean abandoning your responsibilities or withdrawing from the world. Quite the opposite. It means engaging with life from a place of inner alignment, where your actions emerge from your true nature rather than from reaction or obligation. Work becomes a form of creative expression rather than drudgery. Relationships become opportunities to express your authentic self rather than roles to fulfill. Even challenges become invitations to expand your consciousness rather than obstacles to overcome. We've arrived at the critical turning point that separates those who merely exist from those who truly live. The moment you decide to focus on yourself and stop wasting your precious time on things that don't contribute to your growth is the moment your life begins to shift in remarkable ways. It's the moment you step into your true power. Imagine what becomes possible when you treat your attention as your most sacred resource. The outside world, with all its distractions and noise, will always be there, but it doesn't have to control you. Remember this. Whenever life throws you a curveball, pause and ask, am I focusing on what I can create or what I cannot control?